I'm sure by now the vast majority of my audience has heard about the issue regarding Southwest Airlines. Across the country, thousands of flights have been canceled. Hundreds of pilots, ground crew, air traffic controllers, they have staged a sick out. They're taking advantage of their accrued leave time and vacation time because on 1 November, they're all going to be required to have been jabbed. And they are predicting that they might lose their jobs, so they don't want to lose their benefits. They don't want to lose their benefits. I want you to remember that statement, because all this happened 40 years ago. And I know there's a lot of people in my audience right now, older than me, that are squirming right now because they remember the details of this. Nobody wants to talk about this. Nobody wants to bring this up because, boy, it's sure going to be an uncomfortable topic. Ronald Reagan, lion of the Republican Party, Mr. Pro-Capitalism, the air traffic controller strike of 1981. Here's a quote from one of those strikers. "We took a stand for something we believed in. We got smashed, but it was the right thing to do, and I'd do it again." Now, PATCO, the Air Traffic Controllers Union. 5 August, Ronald Reagan fires 11,359 air traffic controllers in violation of his executive order for them to return to work. The executive action, regarded as extreme by many, significantly slowed air travel for months. You see, the government was entitled to their services, to their training. 2 days earlier, 3 August, 13,000 air traffic controllers, 2 days. 2 days earlier, 13,000 air traffic controllers went on strike after negotiations with the federal government to raise their pay and shorten their work week proved fruitless. The controllers complained of difficult working conditions and a lack of recognition of the pressures they face. Across the country, some 7,000 flights were canceled. Now, that was a lot of flights back in 1981. The same day, President Reagan called the strike illegal and threatened to fire any controller who had not returned to work within 48 hours. Now, PATCO was busted, and every person who took part in the strike was banned for life from working for the federal government ever. And you can look this up. This was the case. Now, some might say, well, all unions are socialist. Well, wait a minute. Hold on. So you're saying the federal government entitling itself to work from the people and then declaring you a criminal if you don't work for them, that's not socialist? You see, Ronald Reagan was also quoted as saying this. Back in 1927, an American socialist, Norman Thomas, 6 times candidate for president on the Socialist Party ticket, said that the American people would never vote for socialism. But he said under the name of liberalism, the American people would adopt every fragment of the socialist program. And no better example of this could you see than what happened in 1981. A man that has been touted as the great anti-socialist president was one of the most socialist presidents. Reagan, the great American socialist. Now, this article here, I'll give you the link, talks about Social Security and how he redirected the funds and the surplus of the greatest socialist experiment ever, Social Security, in this country. Now, I ask you, what if Joe Biden did what Ronald Reagan did? See, Ronald Reagan called in the military, and he redirected supervisors and different people into the air traffic job that was vacated by those strikers. What if Joe Biden said, okay, you know what, we're going to fire all those pilots, and we're going to put the military in charge? You would call it tyranny. I guarantee you would. That'd be the first words out of your mouth. But that's exactly what Ronald Reagan did. It is exactly what he did. And we have that right here. You ready for this? Robert Poley, president of Professional Air Traffic Controllers Organization, sought an across-the-board annual wage increase of $10,000 for the controllers. That's all they were asking. Pay range at that time, $20,000 to $49,000. And a reduction of their 5-day, 40-hour work week to 4-day, 32-hour work week. To the chagrin of the strikers, the FAA's contingency plans worked. 3,000 supervisors joined 2,000 non-striking controllers and 900 military controllers in manning airport towers. Before long, about 80% of flights were operating normally. Air freight remained virtually unaffected. In carrying out his threat, Reagan also imposed a lifetime ban on rehiring the strikers. And then later, in 1981, the Federal Labor Relations Authority decertified that union. What happened to free enterprise? What happened to negotiating in good faith? What happened to the government not involving itself in the free market? Because whether you like it or not, the union was, in that case, the free market versus the government. The air traffic controllers got together and said, you know what? We have skills necessary to keep everything going. And we believe that we are entitled to more benefits and better pay. Reagan called it illegal. Here's Reagan sitting with Biden, by the way. Good buddies. He called it illegal. He called them criminals. Threatened them with fines of up to $1,000 and a year in jail. And called in the military to take their jobs. Reagan did this. So I ask again, what really is your definition of socialism? I've heard, well, that's where the government takes control of the means of production. And really, so the government taking control, like Reagan did, intervening itself in the free market, that's socialism, huh? Now, these pilots, I've got nothing against them at all. In fact, doing nothing, which is what they're choosing to do, nothing, is a choice. It's an action. Just like not making a decision is an action. You always have, when somebody gives you an A or B choice, there's always choice C. Don't make the choice. Pretend it never happened. But I think this is going to be a hard thing for a lot of people to get right in their mind about what they believe about socialism, the government, who the good guys are, who the bad guys are, and what the right choice is. Because who's really being affected? Who's really being affected by this? There's stories all over Twitter, all over social media about people stranded, out of town. They don't know anybody. Hotels are full. There are no flights. Rental cars are completely booked. And they don't know what to do. One of those places is Nashville right now. So who's really paying the price here? And why? Why? That's the question. I agree with people's right to choose, but, pardon me, when you talk about someone's right to choose, that opens a whole nother can of worms, don't it? Because when people choose to negotiate in good faith and you believe you're entitled to services and goods and everything being normal, that kind of changes things, don't it? I'll leave it there. God bless. Like, share, subscribe, and we will see you guys next time.